Hi, everybody. We may not have anybody yet, but we're going to wait a few minutes and then we will get going. I'm not sure if the last presenter was running a few minutes late or not. So let's give it a couple minutes. We got one eyeball. It's always better than no eyeballs. But I hope everybody's having a fantastic day today. It's a little bit cooler here in Oklahoma than it has been. A little bit of some wind, making it seem a little bit cooler. Well, we're still sitting at our one little eyeball. One eyeball. But again, the last presenter might be running a few seconds late. I just try to be on time when I can, as long as I'm not having technical issues. But it happens sometimes. And then Kimeri will share me in. We'll get going. I just hate to start and say the whole thing where people have to hear it 2 or 3 times. Oh, now I have no eyeballs. Somebody's like, I don't like you. Tears. I got one eyeball again. But definitely comment and say hi. I'll try to keep up with that. Sometimes it's hard when you're trying to paint and do everything, but we will do our best today. Miss Kimeri, are you around? That's why I'm thinking the last one probably ran a few seconds behind because I only have one eyeball. It shows as an eyeball with a number so you know how many people are watching you. So I do appreciate that one person. They haven't said hello to me yet, so I don't know who you are. I know Miss Patsy is at a soccer game, but it's indoors, so that's nice. Because it'd be pretty chilly out there. We got 2 eyeballs. Woo woo, look at us roll. I got to lean forward to see. Yeah, just 2. Couldn't tell if it was a 2 or a 3. Hi, how are y'all? Now we got 3. Well, we will get started in a second as soon as I know Kimeri has shared us in. We're going to do a little winter project. Hi, Amanda. Hi, Shoop. Don't know of Miss Kimeri. We got 5. I only know of 2. You got to say hi. Hi, Shelly. Hey, Shelly, do you know if the last presenter is done? I hate to mess my feet up on my phone and people can hear. Hi, there we go. Miss Kimeri's on, so we are good to go. Hi, Anita. So today our theme is winter, and I don't know about where everybody lives in whatever part of the country. I am in my store, Stephanie's Vintique in the Plaster Cake Company. So hi, I'm Stephanie Reeves. I am the owner of Stephanie's Vintique, which is a boutique. We have antiques, we have vintage items, we have new items, we have it all. Just come and see us. We also sell the entire paint line of the Plaster Paint Company. So I own both of those companies. So I stay pretty darn busy, but that's all right. And today we're focusing on winter. But I don't know about y'all, but it has not been winter in Oklahoma. It is a little chilly today. That's only because of the wind. It was 80 degrees here on Christmas. So winter is not, been our friend so far, which is good for a lot of people. Hi, Lynne. Hi, Anita. Hi, Carolyn. Hi, Joanne. Hi, Sheila. So what we're going to do today, here's my thought process. I love to paint. I love to do crafts and things, but I have 3 categories. Either I'm going to sell it, I'm going to keep it, or I can give it away. So those are my 3 options. So it has to be, hi, Amanda, hi, Mary, hi, Karen. It has to be something that I like to sell. So if I can sell it, that's the best thing. So we're going to paint these canisters. And before anybody gets real upset, I've had them for over a year. I know they're vintage. Hi, Lisa. But I haven't been able to sell them. It's a set of 4. The cookie jar that's sitting here was an optional buy. You could buy the cookie jar if you wanted to. But the 4 we're going to be working with today, I'm going to display on a beautiful silver platter and put some birch wood and some real fun winter picks. I'm not going to glue any of that down because the color I'm going to use today is Mona Lisa. So it's a real pretty, it's got definitely got some undertones of your greens and a little bit of turquoise. But this on hopefully my kitchen counter, unless somebody buys it before then, will carry me through at least through Easter. So I would be able to change the birch wood. I could change the Christmas picks. I could change to Valentine's. I could use some Easter to pick it all up. But that is what we are doing today. Hi, Lisa. Hi, Mary. Zimmy's Simple Design. Hi, Tammy. Hi, Joe. It's so hard to read. I am Jeannie. Sorry. And hi, Denise. So I did get a start. So this is the coffee one. Again, this was an optional. I'll probably paint it at another time unless we have time today. But they have these metal bands around them. And so I'm going to take those metal bands. The way they made these were pretty smart. It has like a hook. So you just have to lift up that hook. And then that is going to release that metal bar. Yes, I did save all of these. So I might need them for another rainy day. You never know. I'm just going to use, since I know these were probably sitting in somebody's kitchen at some point. I mean, hopefully, because they should have held coffee and tea and sugar and flour. I'm just going to use a little bit of rubbing alcohol just to make sure we're cutting all of any kind of grease or grime that might be on there. And if you could see my rag, I'm definitely getting off some brown, which can also be part of the glaze on here, especially if the sealant that they sealed them with many years ago, I think they're from I had it written down, y'all. I said I wasn't going to get up, but you know me, I'm always $1 behind and 2 days short. So they're from the 70s. And so if somebody had washed them multiple times and cleaned them, some of the clear coat probably has worn off. And so, but I did pre-start. So we're gonna paint a Mona Lisa. So this is the flower. So I didn't figure I could get them all painted. Here's your sugar. Let's see how cute these are gonna be on this tray. And here is your tea. We're also going to be, so again, we're doing a winter thing today when it's, winter white. I'm going to put a white glaze on them. So everywhere this is detailed, because it's supposed to look like a wood barrel, we'll get that glaze into there. And it's going to look so good. Hi, Denise. Hi, Cynthia. So we got the metal ring off. You definitely want to take that off just because it's going to slide around and it'd be really hard to get the paint underneath it. And I don't think once you paint it, it's going to give you any value of what it's going to look like. So again, I'm using One Step Mona Lisa. I'd already poured myself in a cup. Way over poured, so I'll be painting something else Mona Lisa later. And I'm just going to put a quick coat on. We'll let it give it a little bit. I'll let it dry a little bit while I'm putting the glaze on these others. And then I'll put a second coat. You could probably, if I was going to use a brown glaze over this instead of a white glaze, one coat would be plenty, because then your brown glaze or your brown wax would be getting down into those cracks. But I really wanted something kind of that wintry, white, because Mona Lisa is a very subtle color. It does have color. It's definitely got some color in it, but I'm definitely thinking that this centerpiece could carry over through, at least through spring. I think you could change out your doodads that you decide to put on the tray, and it can definitely take you all the way through spring. And then, you know, you can take it off, put your tray away, and just have them on your counter as just some fun vintage canisters. I mean, they're still very good on the inside. They still have their glaze and everything. So you could literally, I mean, I probably wouldn't keep flour or sugar because they're not airtight. In Oklahoma, sometimes we get lots of moisture. So I wouldn't probably keep flour or sugar unless I had put it down into another container before I put it inside here. But you could definitely do dog treats. You could do maybe like a hard candy, you know, pre-wrapped candy, anything like that. Especially if you're trying to hide it from the kids or the husband. They might not look in there since it says flour and sugar. They'd be like, huh, I don't want to cook. I don't want to bake. I don't want to do that. So again, there's our first coat. I mean, that's easy peasy lemon squeezy, as I say, except I can't pick it up. I guess I should put my brush down. I'm going to set it over here and just let it dry a second. If I have to, I'll do the heat gun. I just know it's so loud. It's so hard to hear. Hi, Sandy. Hi. Woo, what is it? Dahlia? No, I can't. Darla, sorry. Got Hi, Grace with Redesign. My eyes are getting bad, I swear. So glad to see you. Oh, I forgot the lid, so I'm glad I hadn't put my brush in water. Hello. And they do have lids, but again, they're not airtight, y'all. I mean, I don't think people were so concerned about that. Plus, they use their sugar and flour so much that it probably didn't go bad because they literally baked and did that kind of stuff daily, where I don't quite have that much time, but I wish I did. Maybe someday. One day I'll get to retire. Keep trying to get one of the older kids to like the urge of painting and stuff, but so far no bueno. So I'm hoping, I got 3 younger ones. Maybe they'll come up the line later. We shall see. It just may not be anybody's jam, but that's okay. But I mean, literally, you could glaze these with any color that would match your house. And again, I see these at thrift stores a lot. I like them as the barrel. Like if I had a lake's house or a cabin or something like that, they would be super cute. But again, I really did try to sell them as is, and I just couldn't. So you got to sometimes pivot and figure out, you know, you have money tied up into something. What can you do with it? And that's another thing. I try not to spend a whole lot of money when I'm doing these, because it's just like you try to get the items that you have, you know, use those. So when I glaze, I just get a damp paper towel. So I'm just going to spray it with one of my sprayers. You don't want it like soaking wet. You just want it to be damp. See, I told you, I said I wasn't going to stand up, and I've already stood up twice. Get a little container to put the glaze in. And again, it's just a white glaze. We sell it in an 8-ounce bottle. You can buy it in brown, black, or you can buy it in white, or you can buy the clear glaze and make any color glaze that you want. So if you wanted to do these and put a gold glaze, you could do that. So you're just going to start. The glaze does not dry like instantly. You do have some workability time, but you definitely want to just go. Because then I always say, you know, once you get started, you don't want somebody else to, like, you know, finish your project, because everybody's going to glaze a little bit differently. So once you get it going, just get it finished. So I'll get probably maybe about half of this canister. Hi, Cindy. I was so glad to see you this morning, and I'm so glad you're feeling better. So I hadn't seen you since September. So still sending prayers your way, and yes, prayers do work. I am 100% with you, girl. 100%. So my damp paper towel, You just want to make sure like you have it to where you can fold it. And then I'm just going to wipe. And as you can see, it's pretty white right now. I'm going to wipe. And you can take off as much or as little. And then once that gets pretty saturated with the white, you're just going to want to flip it. Just keep going. But oh my gosh, look how cute that is. Where it's like here, it's still cute, but this is really giving it that detail. I got to make sure I get it all the way down to the bottom too. Because I could tell when I was looking at it on camera, I kind of missed some of that bottom. So just going to keep on keeping on. I hope everybody had great holidays. I did, but I am glad it's over. I'm not going to lie. I finally got the store swapped over. That was a lot. Because we had an entire Christmas room this year. So getting that all tore down, packed up, and swapped over. And I might not have gone all the way halfway last time. But again, it was coming off very easily. And again, your glaze, your base, the mixology, the clear glaze gives you some workability. You can always use liquid wax matte or liquid wax gloss as a glaze. You can add whatever paint to either of those, but it is not going to give you the workability time that the mixology is. But if you're in a pinch and you're just got a little bit that you need to glaze something, it's definitely going to work. It will not. You just need to be super vigilant and get it off as quick as possible. So again, I'm just going to wipe. Right there, I took off a little too much, so that's fine. You can always put some more back on. And just do it again. And again, it doesn't have to be 100% perfect. It's whatever you want. Whatever you like. I mean, you might like it heavier than I like, which is fine. That's perfectly fine. Again, it's your piece. You can do whatever you wish for it with it. And again, these are all water soluble products. So, wiping them with the rag is not going to hurt anything. Because we just have it damp. You don't want it dripping wet. Now I need to just do the rim just a little. I had put some up there while we were doing stuff. I'm so used to standing up, y'all. You'll have to yell at me to sit down. I don't ever sit down, so. But is that not adorable? So this is the one that says T. So you're still going to see your color coming through. But again, I definitely think that this color with this white glaze can carry anybody who's doing the centerpiece. It will carry you through at least spring. You might even be able to make it through summer. So again, I'm going to get rid of that rag and go with another one. Hi, Joanne and Carolyn. So glad you guys joined me today. But again, I'm just going to do the same thing. And if you get and you're like, oh, my glaze is getting a little thick, you can add a little water. Not going to hurt you. It's water-based. Water-based is not going to, water to water is not going to ever hurt. Well, I'm not used to sitting down. It's killing my back. Going to try to at least get the full half this time. And then I'm just going to wipe. I missed yours, Kimeri, because I was busy up front with some customers. So again, if once you get where your paper towel's not taking off what you want, just flip it. It's just that it's at that point saturated with the glaze. So you just need to flip it, but no big deal. And again, you can do this with the white wax. Either one will do fine. I just wanted to use the glaze today because I wanted it to be really heavy. I wanted a lot of white because I think that just gives it that vintage but winter with all my picks and my little logs. And again, I'm not going to glue anything down because I want to be able to change this out as the seasons go. And then just put the canisters on my counter. If my husband's watching this, I don't ever usually bring too much home because he tells me I can't. But we'll see. He can't get too mad at me, right? He always said that. And then we got this life-size Ronald McDonald he wanted to bring home. And he was sad he told me that because I was like, no, you can't take it home. Had not seen the glaze before. Thanks for showing. Oh, you're very welcome. Yeah, glazing is, I just think glazing, you get to put it where you want it. Sometimes the wax will grab the paint where it wants it. So you have to just make sure that you're okay with it. Because I mean, it is an aging wax. And things don't age 100% the same. So you just have to be okay with that. It's going to look a little different in different places just because it is it's a wax, and that wax is going to adhere where it wants to adhere, not maybe where you want it to adhere, but exactly what it wants to do. Sometimes it has a mind of its own. If you're using the clear, it's no big deal. But if you're using like a black or a brown glaze over something pretty light, you just have to make sure you're okay with it doing its thing. And this one is the sugar. I just painted these this morning, so my finger was in the glaze and my finger pulled some of that paint off. So I'm just going to put a little bit of paint there, and I'll go back here in a minute and just add a little more. But aren't those so cute? Oh, yeah. Over here. That other one's getting dry. It'll probably be dry by the time I finish this one, or close to it. Then I'll heat gun the rest of it. And you're going to do the same thing on the lids. So, just as much as you want on the knob. But you really want to get all the edges. And really work it. You want it to get into those grooves. Because when you go to wipe off, it's going to wipe off the top layer, not what you've worked down into those grooves. Because you're just going to have a real light hand. Which is hard for me because I have a heavy hand. So sometimes I'm always like, oh, I got too much. Getting white glaze on my black pants. But awesome will get it out if you do it before you dry it. Hi, Patricia. So again, I'm just going to wipe and take some of that glaze off. And I'm probably just going to kind of pat because it's a round ball, which makes it a little bit harder to wipe a ball. And I missed a spot here. I saw it before we went live, but I was like, I'll get it in a minute. I mean, it's not even going to hurt. I mean, I can literally put some of that paint and just dab some white glaze right on it with my finger. And you're never going to know that I had missed that spot. But again, if you were using a brown or a black, it wouldn't even matter. You wouldn't even see it because that brown or black would be showing. covering up that little spot you missed. trying to hurry so I could get something to eat. Sometimes I do these without eating. I don't want to be cranky. Cranky stanky. That's what I tell my girls when they are hungry. They're cranky stanky. But again, it does not take much glaze. Because you're just working it into your crevices and grooves. I hope everybody is enjoying today and learning some stuff. That's such a good color. Yeah, I love this color. I mean, it's really, I mean, it's a pretty winter color. It's a pretty spring. Definitely, it's definitely not a fall color. I think you could probably get away with it in the summer if you wanted to do like keep the centerpiece through the summer. Just put some really, pops of some bright colors, maybe some pinks and things like that, just to brighten it up. But definitely not at fall, because I mean, people do it now. They do this color with Christmas, so I mean, you might even be able to do that. Yep, that one's this. Oh, that one's this one. So we won't do that. So then that one goes on there. Oh, I stuck my finger. Oh, let's see, I didn't mess it up this time. Yay, me! Because sometimes I do. And then after it dries, if you're like, oh, I want a little more right there, you can just dab it on. And then, oh, mercy. That wax fell. That was loud. Again, this was a 4-piece set that was in the 70s. It definitely, this is what it looked like before. This was not in the 4-piece set. This was an additional buy that you could buy the cookies. Canister. And I'll probably eventually do it if I decide to take them home, or if I decide to sell it. I had the 4 pieces priced, and then I had the cookies priced. There's also a salt and pepper shaker in the set, but they're plastic, and so I wasn't sure if I was going to do it. Thank you. Yeah, super easy to paint, y'all, especially if you're just like, I can't paint, or I'm not a painter. This, you can paint this. You can glaze this. I mean, it's definitely a good starting point. Because again, if you take off too much, or you put on too much, you can always wipe it off. You're fine. You can always add, let's say you're like, oh, you can always go back and add some color, your paint color. You could always dry brush some of your paint color on if you wanted to. I always say you can always fix it, right? There's always a way for you to go back in and get the look that you're wanting to achieve without just, sanding everything down or just, throwing it to the curb. Like I just took a little bit. Again, the knob is probably the hardest. But again, if you just you can even pat it with your finger, because it's going to leave some and take some without taking too much. That one goes. I guess it goes on that one too. Let me see if this other one is ready for us to. I'll have to dry it with the heat gun in a minute. So I'm going to do this first, because the second coat won't take anything at all. It's just wherever I missed. And like I said, brown or black glaze or brown and black paste wax, you wouldn't even need 2 coats. You could do it in one, because the base color is your base color of your original brown. Your brown or black glaze would just look like that was peeking through. So it would not even matter. Hi, Linda. Again, I hope everybody's having a fantastic Saturday. Store's been busy, which is good. Been pretty busy since the first of the year, so that's another good sign. We'll take it. I'm going to show you. I'm going to do this entire one, and it's still going to be fine. Again, I'm going to have some workability, and if I think it's drying too much, all I'd have to do is mist it, because it's water, and water's not going to hurt it. That's what I love about the products, is that everything but your gel stain and your paste wax are water-based, so you're good. But I am going to get a new paper towel, because that one is probably, and I just use a cheaper brush on this just because I'm kind of being mean to it. I'm just like really trying to make it work itself, the glaze into those cracks and things. So I don't want to mess the tips up on one of my good brushes. This is just like a cheap Wooster 1-inch brush. Get my paper towel. I find it spraying them keeps you from getting them too wet. You know, if I have a bucket and I have water I'm trying to put them down in, I always seem to get them too wet. And you're just going to wipe off what you don't want. Turn my paper towel. And I am just going to spray just a little. Again, it's not going to hurt it. It just felt like it was getting a little tougher to come off, and I was having to push a little bit harder. And I don't want to take off too much, so I'd rather it be a light stroke. See, I kind of took a little bit too much off there. But that's all right. You just go back and add a little bit back. Because it's no biggie. That's the one thing. I always say you can most of the times fix anything that needs fixing. Except if you're using resin. Those times using resin, it is what it's going to be, or you're going to have to sand it off. So doing about half the container is probably the best way. That's kind of trying to see. It's not terrible. It's just a little bit harder to wipe off. There's flour. Let's see. Our one down here. Dry enough to put a second coat on. Ugh. I'm gonna lean over and get it. It's not quite, so I'm gonna hit it with the heat gun, y'all, to get that first coat dry. Because I did use one step. I did not use plaster just because this is the color I wanted, and this is the color in the one step. I got a little too much right there. It had a drip. Patsy, kill me with a drip. Hi, Grace. Oh, I'm sorry. I was just putting the glaze on and then wiping it off. I'll glaze this one. I'll come on that side of the table so you can see better. But right now I'm just drying. Oklahoma does not feel like it's been winter so far so much this year. I'm going to put my one brush back into water to get my other one out. Just going to, since it's been sitting in water, I'm going to get it and dry it off. That way it will be, you always want to start with a damp brush, but you don't want to, thank you, Joanne. You don't want to start with a dripping brush, right? You just want it to be damp. I usually just take and spray it with the sprayer. I had used my brush earlier, so it was already damp when I got started. So again, I'm just going to go back over the first one that I painted and just pick up anything that I missed. It's really pretty good and covered except for a few spots, but I'm just going to put a thin second coat. Make sure I get it all. I missed more spots on the lid than I did on the jar. And literally, I've probably only used, for all 4 canisters so far, like less than 4 ounces of paint. It really goes a long ways. Because I poured way too much in my cup. So I'll be painting something Mona Lisa next week. This is the first time I painted in, mercy, it's been a couple weeks trying to get all the changeover done and the Christmas packed up. And a lot of people are cleaning their stuff out. So I've got some consigners that have sent me some good stuff, but it's just a lot. So I'm going to do the lid again. I really missed more on the edges and on the little knob. But these are ceramic. They were not made, people had them in their kitchens in the 1970s. And these are in super good shape. There's no chips or the glaze on the inside's not crackling up. But I really couldn't sell them the way they were. Again, I guess if you're going to have a house that you would need these, I mean, they would have been such cute decor. But again, sometimes it is what it is. And you just got to move on. Let me dry this real quick. And then I'll come on that side and do the glaze so you guys can see it up close. That's hot. I guess that's why they call it a hot gun or heat gun or whatever. The one step is a satin finish. It's a super pretty satiny finish. Make sure, y'all, if you haven't followed the Fab4, definitely follow the Fab4. And make sure you stay on to the end of the presentations because everybody will pull a name at the end of every presentation. I'm going to try to sit on this side, y'all. Just need a teeny bit more glaze. I could probably use what I have in there, but I'm going to put a little more in. Again, I'm just going to dry my brush off. I'm going to get my paper towel. And I'm just going to mist it. And I got to figure out where the camera is. I don't want it soaking, dripping wet. I just want it damp. especially on this one, since I literally just painted it. If I got it too wet, I'm going to probably take the paint off just because it's not really cured on there. So all I'm doing is just taking the, hold on y'all, let me go back a little bit. I'm just taking the glaze and I'm working it into those grooves, because again, these look like old, I guess, wine barrels or whatever they had in the Wild Wild West. I don't even remember what they used them for. I know it wasn't wine. They always had, maybe they were for their horses to drink. I don't know. Somebody on here probably knows better than I do. I'm not a farm girl. I'm a city girl. And this one is a little bit littler. So I think I can probably get the whole thing done and then start wiping. So basically I'm just putting that glaze. I'm trying to get it down into those crevices, because when I go to wipe off, that's what's going to stay. It's what's down in those crevices. Hi, Teresa. Whiskey? Maybe so. Yeah. Maybe you're right. But you know, they always were outside. Like, they would tie their horses up, but maybe you're right. Maybe it was whiskey. They would do their whiskey in the big barrels outside the saloon. That probably makes good sense. Now they definitely use them for wine, but they look a little bit different there. I was just really trying to get it down into that word coffee. That way that word coffee stands out. So I already got my towel damp, and all I'm going to do is just wipe, gently wipe. And then I'm just going to rotate my barrel, my little ceramic barrel. And I want a heavy glaze. Again, you can wipe as much off as you want or as little off as you want. But I want it to be a pretty heavy glaze, just because this is going to be my winter centerpiece. I'm going to get it out from that coffee word so you can really see that coffee word stand out. Again, I'm going to flip my paper towel, because once it gets caked up with the white, you need to just keep flipping it, and flipping it. And it's as simple as that. Now I'll do the lid. Oh, y'all, I don't know what, my back is about to die. I do not know what's going on. I need to lay down on the floor for a minute. Again, I'm working it down in on the knob or ball or whatever, the handle, whatever you want to call it. I'm just going to get it in there good, just like I'm working the edges. I want the glaze all the way around. Need a new paper towel. So I'm going to take it and give it a couple, 2 or 3 squirts. Again, you can use a little bowl. You can use a cotton. You know, you want one that's not going to put lint back onto your stuff. But you can definitely use it if you want something that you can reuse. Thank you. This one Kimeri tried to stump me on this one. I just couldn't. I was having Christmas withdrawals, I guess, and I just could not think. And no one's going to buy anything like a snowman around here, because it's not cold at all. I mean, they say it may get cold, but it is not cold right now. So here's my tray. I got some of that birch stuff on it, so I'm just going to wipe it off. It's the only thing about those. So tray, my silver tray. I use it all the time at my house. And then I'm just going to put the big one. Where is my other big one? He's down here. Where I'm going to be in a minute. So this one is your flour, and this one is your sugar, and this one is your coffee. Oh wait, I'm going backwards. Your coffee. Put the big ones back. And this one is your tea. I just want it to be where you can be able to read the words. So I'm going to have, turn the flour and the sugar a little bit kind of like that. That way you can still read the words. Put their little lids on. Again, I see a little spot here that needs just a little bit of white. So I'm just going to dry brush on a little. Something happened and I missed it. It didn't look like it had any. And then, again, this is why I'm not going to hot glue anything down, is because I want to be able to change this out seasonally. So just putting some birch wood. These are just like smaller twigs. In the center, and there. I mean, again, this is whatever floats your boat. You might look at it and say, I do not like that. Well, definitely can do something else. One of my logs rolled off on the floor. Didn't need to fall. I'm going to put a bigger one over there. I want to be able to read that. Let's see, and I didn't like that one there, so I'm just going to keep switching them up until I like it, because I want to be able to read the words. So I don't want that to be covering the words that way you can read that it says coffee and tea and sugar. And then I have the picks, my winter picks. I mean, you can definitely still use an evergreen at this time of year. I mean, it is still cool. And in most places, it's probably way cooler than it is here. Like I said, it was really hard to get into the Christmas cheer at 80 degrees. Thank you, Carolyn. But had to do it. The kids sure did love it that they got to spend a lot of Christmas Day outside playing, which was nice. I wanted to cut that one off just a little because it was just a little bit too long. Again, I just save this stuff. It's like if something is not usable or whatever, I'll always pull the picks and stuff out of it, because you can always use them on another project. I take a Christmas tree, like if, let's say somebody threw out a Christmas tree and there was not maybe all the parts to it, I will take that Christmas tree, as long as it's in good shape, and cut the limbs off, and you can use those as like filler. I did them on my front porch. I have pots. And you could just basically, once you cut them off and you pull the lights off, if it's pre-lit, you can just stick those down because they're very stiff, because it's a Christmas tree. It's a limb. And that saves so much money when you're buying like filler and stuff. But I sold a lot of trees this year. Trees have just gotten so expensive. People are always, they're trying to look for a different avenue on trees, which I totally get, because they have gotten so expensive. So hopefully you guys can see that. Push it back just a little. There we go. But again, whatever filler floats your boat is, what you're going to do. This definitely looks very unfallish. Holy moly, I'm losing my mind. Well, I probably have already lost my mind. Somebody probably needs to go look for it. If they find it, they need to call me. Because I've lost it somewhere. It looks very wintry. The colors are good. The white glaze. Now the Christmas. Here I go again. I told somebody the other day, Happy Halloween. I was like, are you kidding me? But again, I'm not going to hot glue anything on. Again, it's just going to sit. I mean, the kids may mess with it, but if they do, that's all right too. It's no biggie. I can always redo it. But this way I can change it up and hopefully hold it at least through Easter, because I can take this off. I can leave the birchwood, put some pastel eggs with some pastel, what time is it? Oh, I'm doing good. Pastel, like some florals. And again, I try to save anything I can save, because I don't like buying that stuff new. And everything you see here either came from my house or came from the store. So I didn't go out and spend a ton of money, because I try to, just use things that I have. Again, I know you guys, everything's so expensive these days. Just kind of trying to see what I put on that side so I could kind of match it. But I may not have another one of those, but that's all right. Nobody's going to care, because nobody is going to notice but me. Just going to put one there. I'm just kind of lining all the way around the tray. Just around the tray. That way when it just sits there, it just looks like a cute little wintry scene. I'm going to go over here. Do some over here. Patsy's going to want this. She loves herself some florals and dry stuff. And again, I'll have to be careful trying to get it home, but it's all right. Again, all this can be replaced and redone. If you get it home and you don't like what it is, it's your thing. You can do whatever you wish with it. I do have a couple that have a little bit of pop of color, a little bit of a purpley color. Take a look at the rest of my stuff. Couple green ones. I don't want to cover up the words is the only thing, so I may have to maybe cut one of these down just a little bit and just cut like one of the little limbs off, because it needs something right there, but it definitely does not need like a big piece. It just needs a smaller piece, just like I just tried to get it right into that little hole. Nice one over here. Again, don't want to cover up the words, because that's the fun part of this piece, is that they're old canisters. And that makes it nice and fun. I'm gonna use all of it that I had up there, so it looked like there's a lot more than you think that you have, but florals definitely. And you can do it as little as you want. Maybe you just want a few sprigs, or maybe you don't want any sprigs of stuff on it. That's perfectly fine. You know why? Because it's yours. Nobody has to love it but you. That's always drives me crazy when somebody says, well, I don't like that. Well, it's not your creation, so you don't have to love it. Just the creator. And I'm telling you, there'll be other people out there that do love it. tiny little piece of wood. May not go on there. Oh, that one. Just save that for another rainy day. But is that not adorable for a, hey Beth, for a centerpiece? So I've got my canisters. They started out looking like this. Like an old whiskey barrel. That's what we're going to say. This was an extra one. This was a 4-piece set. This was just its extra friend. Hey, Miss Patsy. And then I did Mona Lisa one step. I did a white glaze. I had a silver tray that I keep at the house that I use here, there, and everything. Hi, Lynne. And then I just had some wintry picks that I had in a tote. So then I added some birch wood, some smaller. They're pretty much quite a bit smaller than like some of the ones that you see. Just because for the tray, that's what I needed. And voila, I'll take it home and set it on my kitchen table, or I will sell it. Missing my sidekick. I'm missing my sidekick. Girl, my back is hurting. I don't know what's going on with me today. I'm falling apart. Thanks, Beth. But again, for anybody who's upset, I had them for over a year and couldn't sell them. So I had to do something, right? I had to take them and bring them into the 20th century, because again, these were from the 1970s and nobody wanted them. It's a 4-piece set. This was an extra piece, the cookies, and then there is a salt and pepper shaker, but they're plastic, so they're very, very light. I'm not sure. I think if you were going to do something like that, I would probably, Patsy is going to take it. I would probably fill them with something, maybe some like river rocks or pebbles or something, just to give them some weight, because they were really, really light. So, all right, you guys, I appreciate everybody coming and joining me, and continue to watch the Fab4. If you haven't liked and followed us, definitely go in and do that. I'm trying to get on the screen now. We got to pick a number. So I'm going to say number 10. Okay, Miss Amanda Gates. I don't know if I say your last name right, Mans. And you will be my winner. I need to write that down. Oh my God, or I'll lose my mind, or I'll just take a picture of it. But thank you all for joining me, and definitely keep watching. We go through 8 o'clock tonight, and have fun and catch us on the flip side. Thanks, guys. Have a great day.